So we'll get with him right now. Brian, what's up, brother?
Hey, how we doing, man?
All good, man. Happy to have you on the show. I see you're back on this Rampage Jackson and Rashad Evans card in your hometown of Albuquerque. So you know we had to get you on, man. How you feeling and how'd you get on that card?
Bro, feeling ecstatic, like I know, bro, like even me and you, like we talked, I kept telling you, I was like, bro, like I don't have anything to announce, man. I've been going crazy. This is like a year training camp, basically. I switched gyms to pound for pound boxing last year, around like May, and then, bro, just been going at it, just been working everything. And so, no, man, like the word I can use is ecstatic. I finally have news to announce. I finally got, in camp, it feels real because, like, I'm always down to put in the work. I'm a gym rat, but it's you miss the fun part. Under the bright lights, under the action and everything. So no, man, super excited. Looking forward to this next one. And yeah, like wild, right? You, I never would have guessed. On a Rampage Jackson card or anything like that. But this is like a bit of like a influencer hybrid type of event. They got some influencers, some straight boxers, the MMA fighters of Rampage Jackson and Rashad Evans, even though they're boxing on this one. It's it's just a very interesting card. And so the one of the guys that's running everything, Madison Claiborne, he's working with the Signature Punch. I'm sorry, promotions and everything. And it's the fact that it's in Albuquerque. It's my hometown. So they talked to my manager and everything. It made too much sense, to put me on the card. Have someone, former champion and everything, and jumping on the card. Just make it an even bigger local card. And actually, I like the way they're going about it, man. They picked an amazing venue with fighting at the Pit in Albuquerque, which is where Johnny Tapia always used to fight, and he used to pack the house over there. And he's the only one that used to do it. So it's an honor, man. It's an honor and a privilege to even be on the card and the location on top of everything, cherry on top.
Absolutely. You know, tune-ups kind of get this bad word they have this bad word to feel, but I feel like this is exactly what the doctor ordered. You were in tough, man. You fought Tim Zhu. He's a puncher. Boacek, another puncher. Neither of them stopped. That's 24 rounds. Do you feel like me,
Hmm.
or you are this badass bad man where you only want the elite? Because I feel like you needed a tune-up coming off of those two losses, those two tough fights.
Yeah, yeah, and you're and even speaking on the losses, but even the wins, Jason Rosario, Fundora and everything, all these fights. Like I'm getting pretty proud of my resume, man. All these years, building up and everything. But this is when it gets fun. This is when it's like, exciting. In there with the big names. And to answer your question, man, yes, I am one of those guys that I always want, big fights, this and that. But right now, especially the risk reward ratio to face me isn't too great. Um, so the we need to get just back in the win column, back in everything, and it'll be a little easier to make these fights again. But right now, guys don't like they wouldn't really want to take the risk. If there's another bigger name that might pay more, this and that. So it's just being honest, man. Being real with myself and my teams. We're just real about stuff. So we're gonna get back in the win column. And even then, like this next guy's a tune-up, but he's from West Laco, Texas, which is the same place not Brandon Rios, Brandon Figueroa and them are from.
Figueroa, yeah.
Yeah, Figueroa, and I even like talk to them and everything, and so this is kind of that style of a dude, So all those guys from South Texas, tons of pressure, and he's actually gonna be a little taller than me, so he's got some height advantage and stuff like that. But obviously, there's levels, and that's what I plan to show in this fight. I also plan to show a bunch of new wrinkles I have in my game with the new team and everything. We've cleaned up a lot of the stuff in my style, my technique, my strategy. And so no, so it is. I would say it's still a tough tune-up, but this is not a guy I'm overlooking, and we're taking it serious. And I want to put on a legit show, not in the cliche way. I want to put on a legit show for the people back home.
Bro, I got Thomas Lamana hitting me up, talking about he could rematch me with the laugh out loud emoji. So he's sending some love.
Yeah.
Shout out to Thomas. Um, we got a couple of questions here from the people. Treese in Toledo, Ohio says, "Would you fight Charles Conwell? And what is the hardest thing to cut from your diet during training camp?"
I mean, first, yes. You know, look at the last, I think, like 6 fights on my resume. There's nobody I won't fight. I've even so a bunch of those fights were on 2 week notices. As far as being scared to get in the ring with anybody, that's never an issue. So whatever my team decides, we line up. I'm with it. I'm with anybody. I'm with all the smoke, and man, the diet. So I eat pretty clean year round. I've just learned to the secret is just find healthy food that you enjoy. I don't eat like a rabbit, as much as people think, because they see me shredded year round and stuff. I don't eat like a rabbit. I eat pretty good, but uh, for me, man, it would still be it would be the sugar. Like I've had a big sweet tooth, especially ice cream and stuff the last like couple years to be honest with you. But I just try to time and a place for it. I'm not eating it all during the week and stuff, but I'd say ice cream. We got this spot out here in Vegas called Sorry Not Sorry. Just oof.
I've been
That
there.
one's got
I've
a
been
bit of a
there.
chokehold on me right now. Yes, sir.
Oh man, that's funny. We got Ruin the 504. That's New Orleans. He says, any word on the upcoming opponent? This was a few days ago. I guess he did not realize you already had an opponent, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I understand the confusion. This is my third opponent for this fight. And to be honest with you, even a few days ago, like that's like I guess more closer to last week, but yeah, like I found out, they switched it again. The last guy pulled out, and so it is what it is. So some people I completely understand it. It's been flip flop all over the place. Like, yeah, I have an opponent, and hold on, like you know the back and forth.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, and like, then as far as the word and everything, that's what I kind of just explained. He's from South Texas, from West Lacroix and everything. So you already know the type of style he's gonna bring. He's gonna be taller and strong and everything, trying to put on that pressure. But that's where we're here to prove. We can deal with that.
I had never heard of that city before Omar Figueroa signed. I've been doing this so long. I
Yes,
remember that
sir.
Oscar went all the way to his high school to sign him, and it was on video and everything. And I'm like, I
Crazy
never heard of that
times.
city until
No, yeah,
Brandon and
likewise.
Omar and their father. So shout out to the Figueroas, man. Um,
Yes, sir.
we got Octo, yo champ. What's your favorite music artist? And give us one good movie we should watch.
Woo. Um, Man, my music has been all over the place. Um, Lately, man, I guess like a little bit more chill music, man. Been into like Isaiah Rashad, people like that. Just music to vibe to. I'm constantly going 24/7, so I'm trying to offset it a little bit with the music, calm the mentality down, and a little bit of that, bro. Just like chill vibe music
All right.
and movies. Man, I just rewatched the Truman Show because the Truman Show, I felt like I
Nice.
was
That's a nice
telling my brother about
classic.
it. Yeah, yeah, that movie. I feel like that movie traumatized me as a kid because when you're a kid, you think the whole world's watching you and this and that, the world revolves around you. And I feel like that movie solidified it when I was a kid. So, so that was a rough one, but great movie though, man. So I actually rewatched it the other day.
Nice. You spoke about no longer being with Ishmael Salas and you moved to Pound for Pound, which I'm assuming is Bob Santos, right?
It's Bob Santos and Rich Barrientos.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so you're
working with.
training with Rich
Yeah,
Barrientos, the father of the
yes,
Barrientos
sir.
twins.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. He actually had a fighter on one of my amateur shows March 1st, I think it was. Shout out to
Oh,
him.
nice. That's what's up. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
a whole amateur squad still, and I think that helps him, in the pros because he's still constantly working the fundamentals and all the day one stuff, and I feel like it transfers over pretty well.
Yeah. Um, what would you say are the differences and how is that? I always see you guys go from Salas to uh Bob Santos. Obviously you're with Richard, but they're kind of partnered in that gym.
Yeah.
Is there like unknown beef? Cause it's like you guys literally like some days you're with him and then Carlos Adames will train with him, and then all of a sudden next camp Carlos is over there and you're over there. I know those two guys. I mean, is it friendly rivalry at least? Because Bob Santos and Ishmael they look like they might want to fight with how many fighters they lose to each other, right?
Yeah, no, there's definitely been a little turmoil in the past. I'm sure you've heard of some of the stuff, but for me, man, it wasn't about that. I'm not taking part in any of that stuff. It was more about I felt like I hit a plateau. You know, the last couple of years, I felt like I just wasn't learning as much. You know, I didn't know if it was, you know, like just there's a bunch of little issues, you know, that could go into it, but I definitely split. You know, on we're amicable. You know, everything was on cool terms. You know, like they still said, you know, doors always open type stuff. But so no, man, it's not even about like, you know, beef or anything like that. It was just you know, the big factor for me was I noticed what Mario Barrios, one of my close friends, one of my best friends, I was watching his fights after he when he left Virgil Hunter and he came to Vegas. I would look at like I'm like I really like nitpick people's styles and strategies and habits and stuff. And I was actually watching him in his first fight. I think the guy's name was like Santiago or something. When Mario made his comeback
Yeah,
after
he
the
got the
Thurman fight.
stoppage. He got the stoppage on that guy who
Yes.
Broner couldn't stop.
Yeah. And I started noticing like, all right, like I see, you know, he's cleaned up some of the stuff in his style. You know, he's a little more compact, you know, things just a little more tighter, you know, on certain stuff that he needed to clean up. And then from that fight to the Ugas fight, I saw a tremendous difference. You know, that fight, you know, Mario was basically walking on water. And that's when I really noticed. I was like, all right, man, I think this might be what I'm looking for, and I wanted to test it out. So I went, you know, for a couple weeks or whatever, and then I instantly I fell in love with their style of training, you know, the way they put things together, and I feel like it's already even made tremendous changes in my game.
Nah, for sure. And I'm assuming it doesn't help because you guys, like, even if you were with Silas, you would still spar pound for pound, guys. So the sparring
Mhm.
doesn't dip, right? I mean, obviously, there's more in-house sparring with the Silas people, but there's also in-house sparring with Bob Santos because he's just got Elijah Garcia. So I'm assuming you worked with him
Mhm.
or helped him get ready for his fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. Especially, yeah, there was tons of in-house there. And then I actually haven't like you know, worked with anybody from the Salas gym since I made the move. But yeah, man, like the thing is that, you know, like any good work is good work. Like if it's if you know you can benefit from it. So that's more the thing. But now it's about, you know, like get as long as you're getting quality sparring in, you're getting quality, you know, drills and all that fundamental work in. You know, I'll work with anybody, and I'm just trying to learn, man. That's my biggest thing. You know, I'm constantly in the gym, but I don't like feeling like a hamster spinning my wheels. If I'm working that hard, I need to be growing, getting better.
Absolutely. I'm assuming you got that work with Gabriel Maestre when you were in Silas's gym, and I just wanted to know your
Mhm.
thoughts on his potential fight. Not potential, it's actually signed, sealed, delivered. It will be April 5th with Nicholas Floss, and that I believe is on Pro Box in Philadelphia.
Um, all I know is that I know Maestro, he has been getting better over the years. You know, he's another guy that, you know, he works hard and everything, and our sparring would level up. You know, like some days he would get the best of it, then I would come back, you know, make those adjustments, and then it was back and forth, and that's always what I love, man. Anytime I can actually learn from sparring, I'm not just trying to be in gym wars all the time. Anytime I can truly learn, you know, and have to make adjustments and stuff, that's when I get excited, and that's what gets me going in the gym. But I know Maestro, you know, he's been leveling up over the years, and I can't say much because I don't know much about the opponent. But all I know is Maestro is he's still making improvements. I know like he's been sparring Rolly and stuff, and I know he's getting that good work, and he'll be ready.
Do you consider him big for a 47 pounder? Because when I met him, I thought he was a 60. You're a 54. You spar him.
Mhm.
Is he big? Does he hit hard for a 47?
He's got a solid pop, you know, for 47. I don't think I could see like 60, but it's because he's tall, but it's a little deceiving, you know, because he's very lean, so he's a little thinner. So I think that's what makes the difference. But he's got the height for it, so I think that's more, you know, what it is. It was a little deceiving there, but I think he's a very solid 47 pounder for sure.
Oh wow, Thomas Lamana just told me Floss pulled out the fight with an injury. I hope he's wrong. I'm
Oh,
sure he's right though. He wouldn't tell me for no reason. But damn, I was looking forward to
right,
that
right.
fight. I'm almost done. I'm gonna
Yeah,
get you
yeah. I
out of
was
here.
happy for Maestro.
Yeah. I'm gonna get to these last questions from the people and we'll get you out of here. We appreciate your time. Donald from Baton Rouge, happy to see you back. What fight do you want at the end of the year?
I think everybody knows, you know, everybody's been tagging me, asking for it too. I would love to run that back with Fundora. I feel like, you know, I'm the one blemish on his record, and it's I feel like it's an important fight to make. He's he's king of the hill right now, but he's still got that kind of shadow looming over him. And I'm ready to go, man. This is very early in the year. It's only my fight's gonna be April 12th, and got plenty of time the rest of the year. We're both gonna be free, so if we can get that one, I think that would be my dream fight right now.
I kind of know what you're gonna say because it's such a big opportunity, but I still just want to ask. Excuse me, Jamel has been mentioning coming back. If you shake this one out, everything goes well. Would you be willing to throw your name in the hat for a Jamel Charlo comeback fight?
I think it'd be perfect. I'd be coming off a win. He's gonna be looking for that comeback fight and everything. I feel like I would be a perfect fit for that. So of course, man, put my name in the hat. I'm gonna talk to my people and everything after this fight. Of course, man, that would be a dream fight. I had the interim title at 54 and everything, so I would always welcome that fight.
Absolutely. We got Dom from the Bay Area. Can you explain a little bit your experience out here with Caleb Plant, talking to young fighters in the Legends Boxing Club in San Jose? So it seems like you visited a gym and made an impression.
Hmm. No, man, like, I mean, he's asking about, working with Caleb and everything. Caleb he's been great work. I actually just sparred with him yesterday. And I always love him, man. Super sharp work. He was the main guy I got a lot of sparring with before the Rosario fight with Jason Rosario. And man, like sparring Caleb, you get sharp. You get used to the twitchy movements and everything. So these other guys, it almost seems like they're in slow motion. So no, man. And then we'll even chop it up after. Outside of the ring, we'll be talking and stuff, and just bouncing ideas off each other, trying little tricks, moves and stuff. Caleb's a great dude to work with, man, and like I said, man, anytime I can learn off someone, I'm with it.
Ali and Dago says, "What up, Brian? Do you think you can get a title shot soon from Fundora based on the fact you knocked him out?"
That's the thing, yeah. Basically, what I just said. He's the king of the hill right now, and but I know they're talking about that Xander Zayas, is up next for him. They're saying was it the WBO, I think, that he was the mandatory or whatever. So I know they're moving on that, but man, I'm right here. It's you guys have seen it's very easy to make a fight with me, and I feel like that was a definite necessity. That we run that back, and the fact that he's got those titles with it, it makes for all the better.
Absolutely. I got David Garcia. Greetings, Brian. I know the outcome were different for you, but what would you say about a win between Fundora versus Boacek if they ended up fighting? Excuse me. Who would you say would win between Fundora and Boacek if they ended up fighting? Excuse me.
Um, I would still lean towards Fundora. But I don't know about the last performance. I felt like Fundora was getting caught a little too much. And I know it's like a tune-up. You rise to the level of the opposition. But I don't know. It would be a difficult fight, but I'd still kind of favor Fundora on that one. But Bochek's a very solid fighter.
I got Clemente from Phoenix. What's up, Brian? Seeing that Bakram can not get anyone to fight him, would you take that shot since it would be for the IBF? Shout out to you for being one of the only ones to KO Fundora. People are sleeping on you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. And yeah, man, absolutely. I actually know Bakram, man. Like when I see him, like we're on cool terms and everything. When I went to spar with Mario and I was his sparring for the Thurman fight out in the Bay, I actually got some rounds in one day with Bakram, and we got some work. It was very sharp work, and it was fun, man. Another guy said, I could learn off. We got like I said, very sharp work that day, and no, it's all respect, all love, and everything. But it would be an honor to share the ring with Bakram. So I would definitely take that fight. And like I said, man, title shot, can't turn that down.
So this guy didn't steal this from me. He dropped this 3 days ago. He said, Benny Hinn got an idea. La Bala Mendoza versus Jamel Charlo. So that's another guy that wants that fight.
Yes, sir. I've been seeing those comments, man. So I'm with it. Like it's you guys know me already, man. I'm so easy to make a fight with. Just call. Negotiate the stuff out. My team with Louis de Cubas Jr. and everything over here on like the Al Haymon side, man. Like we're with it, man. It's too easy to make the fight, and I'm always an action packed fight. So whatever. So I'm always with it, and they got my number.
I got I am Insider 300. I'm also from Albuquerque. Much love from the 505.
Hey.
Is there any gyms you recommend for those who want to pursue boxing professionally, also green or red? What the hell is that? Is that some Albuquerque shit? What's green?
Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Greener. So, the difference, like the biggest difference I could tell you between New Mexican food and Mexican food is the chili that they put on it.
Oh, he's talking about the
Um,
sauces? Red sauce or
yeah,
green sauce?
yeah. Wherever you go, bro, they ask you red or green. And for
Yo,
me, it
but
depends, man.
isn't the green one the one more mild, right? It's always more
It
mild. The
depends.
green one?
It
Oh,
can
it
be, yeah.
depends.
It can be, but like there's levels to it. Sometimes you get some pretty spicy green chili, but yeah, for the most part, the red will be a little spicier. But yeah, there's even some places go you ask them for the Christmas, so they give you that red and green together. But oh man, I'm so
That's
excited to
funny.
get that food again when I go back home.
That's funny,
But
man.
yeah, definitely depends, man. If I'm getting like a breakfast burrito, put some red on that for sure.
Rocky from Florida, champ. Do you film study opponents or do you like to figure them out in real time? Thanks for coming on the show.
I've uh I've come back and forth with that a lot, to be honest with you. Like, there's been times where the plan was, just sharpen your tools and you go in there and you make the adjustments anyway. And then there's times where, yeah, like you heavily need to come in with the game plan, a heavy set on it. But so it's a bit of a mix. But for this one, well, honestly, for this guy, it's we haven't even been able to find much tape, which makes things a little more difficult. But it's for the most part, yeah. Like I like to, at least my trainer, like to when they film study and stuff, and then they come to you, hey, we need to work on this, this, and this, lay it out for you. That's probably my preferred way to go about it.
Yeah.
You definitely
I
got to
got
know what you're going into, though.
Mr. Leon. What businesses are you invested in or out of the boxing ring in? If not, what businesses are you interested in getting into in the future?
Man, that's a really good question. Right now, like I've been dabbling in little stuff here and there, but um, man, the biggest thing is because my main goal after boxing is I do not want to have to like kill myself to get money or do some like funny suspect exhibitions or anything like that. After boxing, I refuse to be a stereotype and retire with no money. So um, I think honestly, the first one's real estate. Like I actually just bought a condo last year, and just dipping into that, first, be able to just kind of have the quote unquote passive income, where you can just kind of, just want to, my main thing would be real estate, but like other than that, whatever comes my way, anything I see as a good opportunity, I'll definitely jump on that. But I just refuse to be a stereotype, man, and just still want to have my bread after boxing.
Did you decide to get into any real estate back in Albuquerque or you bought the condo here in Vegas?
The condos here in Vegas, but I actually am thinking about Albuquerque because I think it's a pretty good market, and I feel like it's just a step behind Vegas. Like it's everything in Albuquerque. Like for the most part, you'll find like a couple 100,000 cheaper, but then in a few years it'll be at that same price. So I feel like New Mexico is just a step behind Albuquerque. I mean, behind Vegas, Nevada. So I think it's a good market to tap into. So I'm definitely, I think within either this year or next year, I'm gonna be looking into that.
And do you plan on like going back, like when it's all said and done? You think you'll retire to Albuquerque on some land and overlooking the mountains, or you like, nah, I've already moved on. I like the Vegas life. I'll probably be in Vegas or another big city.
All of the above. I
Okay.
wanna, like yeah, like even someone I really look up to, Arislan Lara, he's got a few houses, man, like quite a few. And so I just want the freedom. Man, since I was a kid, since I was like 5 years old, I used to tell my mom, I want a lot of money, I want this, the financial freedom has been the goal. So it's the financial freedom of cool, like I'm gonna go stay in Albuquerque for a while, be back home, be in Vegas. I actually see myself moving to Texas one day.
Okay.
Maybe that's one that's more kind of when things are said and done. But um, and then no, man, like I love California, but I love visiting California. I wouldn't want to stay out there. So it's a lot of places, man. But all the above, I don't want to be tied down to one place. The plan is to get everything I can get done in boxing, and move on from there and kind of open up those avenues, man. I want to have definitely more than one home.
Absolutely. Amen, man. Hopefully everything comes true. We got G from Brooklyn. What's your
So,
thoughts on Crawford versus Canelo?
and Crawford's got the skill, but the weight matters, man. So that's kind of the only thing I'm really kind of like hesitating with, because yeah, like Crawford most definitely has a skill for it, but you know the weights matter, like I said, man. So we're gonna see if because I know he's been posting, you know, that he's like what, like in his 180s or whatever, and he's very muscly and everything. So I know they're gonna go about it the best possible way, but you know the fact that he's jumping all these weight classes, you know, and kind of at one go. Because even Canelo, of course, you know he did it, but he was taking, you know, one weight class at a time, kind of going through the weight classes, and
Mm-hmm.
jumping weight classes is another story on its own. So if Crawford gets it done, though, I feel like that solidifies his name in history. Like no doubt, I don't care what side you're on, you can't argue that. But it's a tall order, man. I'm still right now. I'll give you that. I'm leaning more towards Canelo just because of the weight.
He's been holding camp more and more here in excuse me, in Vegas. Has he called you specifically for the Israel Masvidal fight, or did you get lucky and was able to spar him at all in his time he's been spending in Vegas here in the last couple of years?
No, man, that's actually never even been brought to the table.
Wow.
Surprisingly, I actually even met Crawford. I think a little bit after the Fundora fight, before the Sioux fight, so 2023, and I actually met him. You know, sat down, talked with him for a minute at the Top Rank gym because he was here to watch Shakur train. And nah, man, you know, we chopped it up and everything. You know, just kind of bounced some ideas off each other, but it was all cool, all love, and then. But nah, man, it just hasn't been brought to the table. But that's something I'll definitely be open to.
Absolutely. Last one, and we'll get you out of here. Thank you again. Spider Rico in Oregon. He says, did you go? He says, ask, did you go undergo extensive drug testing or any at all for the Australia Tim Zoo fight?
Yeah, no, yeah, we went with Vada, and it was I got tested. I don't have the exact number, like 4 to 6 times maybe. You know, a few times throughout camp and everything. It wasn't crazy. I got tested, you know, a couple times out here in Vegas, and then like once or twice maybe out there when I was in Australia. So I don't know about extensive, but you know, we did have our drug testing.
Well, Brian, man, those are all the questions. Can you give out your social media for anybody that isn't following you so they can do so? And I just want to thank you once again for your time. Wish you the best of luck on your upcoming fight.
No, yeah, man, definitely appreciate you. And yeah, my Instagram name, everything, also all social media across the board is at La Bala Mendoza. And yeah, just you know, come check it out. That's where I'm posting, you know, all my behind the scenes stuff, and just posting updated news on the fight info and everything. And then yeah, there we go. There's the fight
Speaking of fight
poster.
info, how can they get tickets if they want to see you live?
So there's tickets through I'm posting, you know, the links on my pages and everything. It's through like I believe it's like the Lobo website from New Mexico. And then if not, actually in that same post here that you just posted up, there's a link. I forget the name of the link. It's like streaming live or something like that. But I will be posting that. So there is a live stream if you can't make it, and then if you can come show some love in person. It'll be at the pit, and you can just go through their website and everything. But I'll keep posting stuff, you know, to make it as easy as possible for everybody to tune in or show up.
All right, champ. Thanks again.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man.
All right,
Always.
there you have it. Brian Mendoza, back at it. We appreciate him jumping on the show.